Welcome, everyone, to the CRM MVP podcast, episode number 94. We are super close to Christmas. Actually, the next episode is coming after Christmas. So I think this is the right time of the year to come together with a few of my fellow MVPs for our annual tradition, which is Dear Microsoft, is the title of this. I guess we have to call it Dear Microsoft 2020. And it's an annual tradition, I guess, starting this year because we've only done it once before. But I wanted to invite MVPs from all over the world to essentially come up and ask Microsoft for stuff because every time I ask, it never happens. So I figure that if we bring more people, there's more strength in numbers, and the bigger the chance that we have to essentially get our stuff in the pipeline and released. So from last year's crew, I invited Nick. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back, despite my poor effort last year of picking anything that they might do for me.
I know we give you, I figure another chance since they didn't give me anything either. So, although it seems like I asked for something that was already in the product, kind of, which was the save and publish button from last year. So, I don't know. Maybe I should ask for something this year that is already done, so I feel accomplished. But anyway, I also invited Lisa from Australia.
Hello.
Lisa?
G'day. Should I say
Welcome to the
g'day?
I know Lisa has hosted this show before. She's been a guest on it, and glad to have you back.
Thank you very much.
What time is it, Lisa?
It is 6
Right
a.m.
now.
for me, and this is my second. This is not my start of my day.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy. And then from the UK, we have Megan joining us as well.
Hello.
Megan, you've also hosted the show before. Thank you for joining us for this, again, special episode. Looking
You're
forward
welcome.
to see what you're asking for.
Thank you for having me.
I know. I figure that Microsoft listens to you. I have a feeling that Microsoft
Oh,
listens to you.
100%. Straight in there.
For sure. And also from the UK, I invited Matt, who's a new MVP, first time on the show. Matt, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Gus.
Awesome. And Matt, I'll start with you just with a little introduction because people listening to the show, again, they've heard Nick before and Megan and Lisa, but how about you? When do you get your MVP award? Where do you live? Just give us a little information about you so people get to know you better.
Sure. So my name is Matt Collins-Jones. I live in the UK, as just said. I became an MVP on November 1st, so just over a month ago now. It's still all very new. It's all very shiny and stuff. And yeah, I live in Manchester in the UK.
Awesome. And you've been a speaker in several, I guess, events. That's where we met. I think it was at Extreme or the UG Summit in EMEA last year, right?
Yes.
Is that where we met?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I'm looking forward to see what you guys have in store. And let's start again. Each one of us are going to ask Microsoft for stuff for 2021. Hopefully it becomes a reality. I think that if we do about 3 each, that will be good. But if you have more, maybe we'll throw it in at the end. Let's start with Nick. Nick, what is the first thing you would ask Microsoft for 2021 since you failed so miserably last year?
Well, if at first you don't succeed, try again, right? So, I was thinking that I guess my requests last year were just too outrageous. So I thought I'd take a request from last year and just make it even easier. So last year, I think I asked for a whole year of no name changes or licensing changes. I'm going to scale that back this year. I'm just going to ask for 7 days of no licensing changes or name changes. Like, do we think we have a chance with that? Because I know, they just announced some new licensing changes a couple weeks ago. And so okay, maybe I'll give them a little bit more credit. How about a whole month with no licensing changes or name changes? Do you think I can maybe get that this year?
I think so. I think that sounds a lot more realistic.
See,
That's vague. That's still vague, Nick, because what are we talking about? Like across anything that's with Microsoft?
Anything,
or only the things you care about?
Oh, well, I mean, only the things I care about. They can name it. I don't know. I don't care what they name Office or all the things that don't matter. I mean, I'm sure by this time next year, SharePoint will be gone, right? It'll just get replaced by all the cool stuff in the Power Platform. So, I think it's just portals. I mean, clearly we don't want to change portals again. I guess maybe let's limit it to anything in the Power Platform. Let's not rename or change the licensing for anything in the Power Platform for a whole month. And Gus, I'm looking to you to make sure that every month you're gonna keep up to date on this and see if it's coming true, to see if there is a 30-day period where they make 0 changes.
Wow, that would be celebration time. I mean, imagine how frustrating it would be to have like a clothing line with all the brands of all the Power Platform products. Like as soon as you come up with a design and you like it, it's obsolete, pretty much.
I'm wearing it. I'm wearing a T-shirt right now that this is an audio medium, so it doesn't quite work. That has old logos on it. So,
Nice.
yeah.
I have a jacket for a product that never even existed. So imagine that it's so solid that they created actual merchandise for it, and then they didn't even that wasn't a thing. I have a CRM5 jacket. How about that?
Wow.
And then they changed the name to 2011. Yeah.
I
So
feel
Yeah,
like
it
but
I need
that's
to-
never.
actually
I need some
good. That
database
then
merch
becomes a
now.
collector's item, right? As opposed to videos and blogs that are just like, well, that was a waste of time doing it. But at least you've got a collector's item.
Yeah. That's right. I value it a lot. I think my
I'm
dog
sure you
has it on
do.
right
Yeah.
now. I don't know.
You know, Gus, though,
Um,
I do think though that sounds like an excellent business opportunity, because if you could just find a, if you have to produce new shirts and all that sort of stuff every time they change something, then people are always going to have to be buying new stuff. Like, it
hmm.
sounds like a great business opportunity, actually.
It does.
Right. Makes sense. All right. So now let's go with Matt. Nick, that was a good ass. Good job. Matt,
Why
let's
why
hear
are you
your
so
first
surprised?
because of last year. That's
Oh,
why.
point taken.
All right.
Okay.
Matt.
I will start off with what will hopefully be an easy one. So, dear Microsoft, can you do something with Word templates? Can you make them better? So, I love Word templates in Dynamics, but they've not had an upgrade since 2015 when they came out. So, Word templates are great for getting standardized reports, standardized documents out of the system with some related data. But you're limited with what you can pull out. You can't pull out things that are related to the things that are related to the thing that you're looking at. If that makes sense, like n+2 or n+1. So, like if you're on an opportunity and you want to see something, 2 jumps away, 2 lookups away, you can't pull that information through really easily. And even like simple things, I would like the ability to download a Word template in the system. You can download personal templates. You cannot download system templates. There's just no button for it. So I would like Microsoft to please improve Word templates a little bit.
That's a good one.
I would agree.
Yeah.
But you've
for
missed one of the
sure.
important things about
What?
the sorting.
Sorting, grouping,
Yeah,
nested tables, all that
all
sort
of
of
that.
stuff. So I mean, and it's Microsoft have they've improved the Word connector for Power Automate to allow you to do these things. But just recently they've added in buttons into Dynamics to generate PDFs and email Word template PDFs to people. And as part of that, you get a PDF or a document viewer of your Word template. Now, if you're going to invest that money there, why not go whole hog and just go, hey, there's some lacking functionality here. Let's improve it. Let's just add stuff to it. Let's bring it closer to those older SSRS reports, so we can do traditional branching and grouping and sorting and everything that you can do in other things inside Word templates.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's one of those things that when they came out, I was super excited about. Also, the Excel templates came out at the same time. I thought it was a great, opportunity to come up with better reports because the reporting engine in Dynamics has not been updated at all. It's still doing the same thing with SSRS reports. So I'm like, well, this might be an opportunity to create some cool reports that will actually do some math and will look better than a custom report that you can do with SSRS, because even custom reports don't look as good as some of the stuff that I saw when Excel and Word templates were released. So, That's a good ask.
It's
Does anyone have any other comments?
on my list of things to look at. I saw this in a comment the other day about Power Automate word templates are apparently superior. I don't think it gives you your full wish list, Matt, but I haven't ever looked at it yet. But I've gone, wait, what? It's I can't keep up. There might be another thing there. So has anyone else played with that?
Yeah, the Power Automate ones
Yeah.
are great because you can do all the other things that you do in Power Automate. You can list records, and you can create arrays, and you can sort and stuff like that, and do that sorting that Megan was mentioning,
Yeah.
and put that in a nest in a table to display records. But still, like, that kind of takes you out of Dynamics.
Yeah.
And with Microsoft investing in that new attachment viewer and that new document viewer inside Dynamics, it'd be great to just preview that right where you are instead of having to press a button and then waiting for the flow to run and then come back and generate stuff. So
Yep. Fair enough.
It's a great addition. I just want more.
Well, this is the wish episode, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you can't wish for more. We should wish for more.
And if they really really like you, I think they should give us also the chance to print to PDF, not just export to a Word template or Excel template, but also to a PDF. That would be awesome. Because
You
right now
can.
you can do it with Word and then save as PDF. But I
No,
mean,
have you not
No.
looked at it recently? The button's there and it basically displays it for you, and then you basically get it as a PDF. Or you can email us a PDF automatically.
I guess I haven't looked at it recently.
Look at
There
it,
you go.
Gus. Come on.
Well, let me ask for it. That way, it's already in the system.
All right, go for it.
And
That
I-
can be your ask.
I have a
You
feeling,
know,
Megan,
and I-
that someone might have mentioned that on another podcast.
I know. If only someone would listen to it. Who could that be?
Good point. I heard there's some sensitive conversation there. I gotta listen to it. All right, so let's go with Megan. What is your first?
Thanks.
First ask.
Make me laugh and then ask me.
That's what you normally do to me.
I know. I'm good at that. So, I was going to say what I would like. Dear Microsoft, what I would really like is for you to just bring back social engagement or put together something like it. I
Yes.
do not understand why that was taken away. That to me was one of the coolest products, one of the best products. I used it a lot, and then they took it away, and then they renamed it, brought it back as something else, and then quickly took it away again. It's just one of the areas that I think is a massive gap for anyone that does any kind of marketing, because for anything to do with social engagement, social media posts in the marketing app, that's okay, whatever. It's actually not that great because the analytics that they've added in only come back through if you post to a LinkedIn page or a Facebook page. You can't get the analytics from Twitter or from a LinkedIn profile post. So that for me is like, I think is a massive, massive gaping hole. And you're forcing people to go out and use another third-party tool when it comes to social media engagement, analytics, who's talking about my organization, how do I interact with those people, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it pisses me off that one's taken away. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
a big gap.
It-
a big gap.
Yeah, in the past, I feel like they have gotten rid of stuff because they shuffle things around. Like when they got rid of what was it, Parature, for example, the knowledge base, and like some of the most useful components were moved into Dynamics. But with social, engagement, they just turn it off, and that was it. There's no option for it.
Absolutely. And then to bring something back, I can't even remember what it was that they called it in the interim solution was called. But it was like there, and then you blinked and it was gone.
It was called
and I don't understand how
Market Insights or something.
Say again.
Market
Was it customer
Insights?
insights?
No, it was market. It was market.
No, I can't remember what they
Yeah.
called it, but I don't understand if you've got HubSpot or you've got Hootsuite or you've got whatever it is that you can use these days. Sprout Social, that's another one. How you can have other companies that can do it, and then Microsoft can't. And it's not like they can say, oh, well, that's not our area of expertise, but they do stuff in all areas. So it's not like you can even use that as an excuse or a reason.
Social is such a big part of the marketing story as well, and it's one of those things that customers always are. You're sort of going through the requirements and you're like, we're good. Social, oh no.
Yeah.
And there's, I hate saying no, you can't do something, but you get to that point with so social listening. I was like, yeah, you're going to have a third party tool for that. Like there's just, you can use Power Automate and connect up, get some tweets and things, but it's not what they're after. And that social listening capability is just completely missing. And I've had conversations with people where I say, even internally in the organization I work in, it's like, no, there's genuinely nothing there. And there's a bit of a double take. So really? It's like, yeah, it used to be. But,
and even simple things like having a post and tagging somebody on Twitter in that. Like, so even if you were like, oh, let me use Power Automate, you can't tag somebody in Twitter using that, but yet I can share my blog post and use a tool from Buffer and tag somebody from that, and it works fine. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, that was a bit of a rant, but that annoys me. Like, give us something.
Right. That's awesome.
Thanks, Microsoft. Look forward to seeing that one.
Wow. Thanks a lot.
If you say thanks at the end, Gus, it makes it okay.
Yeah, it makes exactly. It diffuses the tension.
It does.
All right, Lisa. Let's hear your number one.
Going to go controversial right out of the gate here. And I'm going to destroy Nick's wish. I'm sorry, Nick.
Yay!
I want, dear Microsoft, please give us a proper, decent name for model-driven apps. I need a name. I want a name change for model-driven apps. This is such an awesome technology that people don't get, and I think part of it is just the amount of time I spend explaining what it is. Canvas apps kind of work, people get it, but model-driven apps, you get into, I don't know, I just of all of the renaming things that have happened, I was really championing for please rename model-driven apps, and it didn't happen. So there you go. I'm going to actually ask for a name change. How's that for a starting point?
What name do you want?
Wow.
I don't know. It's just like all care and no responsibility.
You're just like everyone else. We want change, but we're not willing to figure out what it's going to be.
What about universal apps? Because then it's like Dataverse, unified, universe.
There must be something in that whole superhero theme we could go with there too.
Yeah,
maybe like Flex apps or something.
Yes.
No.
We've been there.
You really just go there.
Flex apps.
You just wait.
Don't worry, they'll pick a name that then they'll have to change because somebody else picked the name, and then they'll get sued. And
I'm already sorry I've opened this can of worms again, but like Dynamics has it, like things. I mean, Dataverse is a made up name. It's a branding name, made up name. Dynamics is I feel like with model driven apps, there's a point at which having just a made up name, it pins it on something, and I feel like model driven apps doesn't get as much love as it should, and I think partly because it's saddled with this kind of technical sounding I don't know, it's a hard thing to explain the concept to people, and then there's not a kind of nice hook for it, and I would love to see,
but there was when it was
that out there.
Yeah, but we had like the common data model, common data service. You could kind of tie it in roughly. But now
it's the concept of the app, right? So that if you're talking to people about the data platform underneath, and okay, we call that Dataverse or whatever, great. But the app that sits on top of that, and the concept of being able to create a custom, proper data model and user interface over the top, I just find I need far too many words, and it would be good if that had a snappy name to kind of.
They should call them table
apps. In a bit.
Table apps, yes, I like that.
There we go, problem solved.
Nice. But it's true. I mean, the same thing with Power Apps. Like when people think of Power Apps, they think of Canvas apps. They don't think of model-driven apps.
Mm-hmm.
It's the poor child. It's the less favorite child. And I get why they're both called Power Apps. I do have to spend a lot of time explaining to people why they're both.
Okay,
called
hold
Power
on.
Hold on.
Both of them?
All right, now I've got controversy.
Yeah.
Oh.
There are three types of Power
three.
Apps.
Forgive me.
Lisa.
Well,
I tripped right over that one, didn't I?
Come
There are
on,
3 types
man.
of power apps that are completely different things, and we call them all power apps, and everyone only thinks of Canvas apps.
Power up portals, power up. What was it? Tables? That'd be cool.
No,
Model
No, but
table
driven.
apps,
even
canvas apps,
and portal apps.
portal
No.
apps. Yeah.
Yeah, we should call them portal apps. No, but it's funny because even professionals, when they think of power apps, they think of Canvas.
Yeah.
They don't think of model driven apps. Were any of you? I don't think Megan or Lisa or Matt were there, but you, Nick, were you there at the meeting during the UG summit where somebody says they're the face of power apps?
I sure was.
Yeah, exactly. And it was
The
like, oh, like
worldwide
you.
face, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The global face of power apps. Some MVP proclaim himself. I'll say himself. I'm not gonna reveal the name, but as the global face of Power Apps, and I just look at him. I'm like, I don't even know who you are. And
It
but it
wasn't you
was
then, Gus.
no, it was
I-
not me.
I
But
can't believe Joel
because
Lindstrom said that. Oh, sorry. Oh, shoot. Darn.
because because everybody knows I'm like the global face of unmanaged solutions, so I cannot have multiple
You
global
can't be
faces.
two-faced.
Can't be
Can you,
two-faced.
Gus?
Too
Oh,
much, yeah,
God.
too much responsibility. But anyway, then when I brought up and I'm like, what about model driven apps? Like, no, I don't deal with any of that. Like, well, then you're not the global face of power apps if you don't even work with model driven apps. But anyway, that's just
Yes, I feel
not
like
that I'm bitter or anything.
Canvas apps has kind of got that brand, and
Exactly.
the other 2 types of apps don't get as much love in that sense. But I think portals, people know what the concept of a portal is. Model driven apps to me just is such a kind of it. You know, if we're talking about we need to change the name Common Data Service because it's too technical and people don't understand it, could we not have taken model driven apps on that journey and given it a better name at the same time?
Yeah, good point.
End rant.
All right, so here's my first request. So, dear Microsoft, can you please simplify the process to get a 30-day trial?
Oh,
Like that is my number one ask. Like I don't know why it takes an expert like 30 minutes to get a 30-day trial. So I assume that people that are like they have just a regular company out there and they heard something about Microsoft CRM or whatever and they look it up. Why is this so hard to get a 30-day trial? Like it should be like you should go to like crm.microsoft.com or whatever or dynamics.microsoft.com or whatever, and there should be a button at the top that says try it, and you click on that and immediately it loads up ready to go. I don't understand that. And I think if I go one step beyond, and this is more for professionals, I would love for them to give professionals, people who are certified, MVPs, whatever, kind of a code, like a coupon code. So when you enter a 30-day trial, maybe you get a 90-day trial or something like that. I even asked this in one of the MVP summits. I said, is there any chance that we could get trial environments that look, if we don't use them for 30 days, delete them. But if we're using them, just keep extending it, like 30 more days, 30 more days. Every time you log in to do something, 30 more days, 30 more days. Because at the end of the day, we're just creating trials every month to try stuff, to play with it. And that costs Microsoft money because the original intention was, well, every time somebody creates a trial, it costs Microsoft money because we have to pay the SQL team for some money, the Azure team get some money. So if you have to pay every time a trial is created, then let us extend the trial forever, essentially. Salesforce does this, by the way. You can create a trial that is, a trial environment for development purposes or whatever, and it's for free forever. You can own it. You don't have to pay, or it doesn't expire. So Microsoft should make this easy. So what do you guys think?
I mean,
Agreed.
that's if you can
100%.
even get a trial. Because if you sign up for too many trials, they'll blacklist your number and you won't be able to get a trial. It's just
you just
not.
got to be smarter in the way you do it.
Yeah. And I mean, even. And
I'm
if
not calling you
try
not smart, but
No,
still,
no,
like,
But
I bet there's a
I've
bunch of
tried,
trials
man.
out. Are there a bunch of trials out there for Megan Walker and then a bunch of trials out there for Megan V. Walker? Is that how you get around it?
and then I use my maiden name as well, and then
Yeah,
my
Oh,
other
the
initial.
family, cat's name. I don't know what I did years and years and years ago, but there was an opportunity or an email or a thread. I don't remember what it was that I read somewhere, the process to whitelist your stuff, like your IP and your phone number and all of that, so you can create trials forever. And that's what they did. And again, I'm not happy that I'm happy that happened, but I'm not happy that was the solution, was to just whitelist it It should be like, here's a trial that you can have forever. And we as MVPs, we get, an environment as long as we're MVP. So I'm not complaining about the access to that, but there's tons and tons of professionals out there that are not MVPs that would love to have an environment to play with forever, essentially, and not having to create one every 30
Well,
days.
so yeah, on the
I think
power
MVP or
side,
not, there's also the times where you want to do something that's completely different, maybe, and you're trying something else. And for me, it's sometimes easy to just say, right, I'm going to just create a new trial. And maybe what I'm testing or working on or playing around is going to take longer than 30 days. And you're right, it's a pain. It really is. So yeah, I think it would be an awesome idea. And I like the concept of, if it hasn't been used, wipe it. Because to me, if you're just setting up and then you've played with it for one day and then you don't do anything, get rid of it. I don't think it needs to be there.
and on the power up
Yep.
side, you can get a you can get a long term, like you can get that community plan and kind of keep using it to play around with. So people ask for the equivalent with dynamics and can't get it. But my problem with the trial setup recently, have you seen how hard it is now to get just the sales app instead of
Oh my God.
all of the apps? There's a couple of hours of my life I'm not getting back. I've got a video to do on this, but you have to jump through some hoops to not get the full set of customer engagement apps, which adds field service and projects. So it adds complexity. If people just want a CRM, we should be letting them just get that and making that easy for them. I don't know how a customer would
Exactly.
ever figure that out from scratch. Took me quite a while to figure it out, and that's changed recently. You can't just default pick that. You have to kind of pick nothing. Doesn't take you through a setup screen anymore. So that process, I just don't understand why they're making that so hard.
Can you get sales now without customer service? Is that possible?
If you know, well, actually, no. It adds customer service hub in there as well. You're right.
Okay, yeah.
Even if you do get around and say I only want sales, you end up with customer service. Maybe because the case thing has some crossover. I don't know.
I don't know.
They haven't
But yeah,
untangled that mess yet.
It's super complicated. I mean, again, if MVPs are struggling to get a trial, I mean, what are customers, prospects, potential customers doing? Not getting a trial. That's what they're doing. So anyway, okay. Well, that was number one for me. So let's see, Nick, what's your second request?
Okay, request number 2, and this is maybe a little bit Portal specific, but it could be for everything, is I'd love to see them take the source code for all this stuff and open source it. And the reason I say that, specifically with Portal, so with Portals, we've had an open source code release. We've had the code for a number of years now because they released it to help people with on-prem migrations. And I can't count the number of support requests that I've saved Microsoft by answering questions in the forums that were only possible because I had that source code. So if all of these different things that we're building on top of, if we had that source code in such a way that we could kind of, we run into this weird bug, a lot of us probably have the skills to kind of take a look at it and figure out, okay, what's the actual issue? So like when I report issues to the Portals team, often I'm saying, hey, the bug is on line, 243 in this specific piece of code. They can get those, dealt with a lot faster. So I think it would be great if all of these things were open source. Obviously, there's going to be issues with people taking it and running it themselves. I mean, maybe that would be a thing, maybe it wouldn't. But having access to that source code, I think, would be super helpful.
Nice. I like that. What do you guys think?
Not my.
Good
Not my.
request.
I mean, that sounds reasonable and not at all my area of expertise.
Sounds great.
Someone
You can
who
have
knows,
that one.
Someone who knows
I
something
agree.
about source code here.
You can have that one, Nick. All right. Awesome. Good job. Matt, do you have number 2?
Number 2. So this one is kind of like the big present for Christmas. It's kind of like the bike. It's the thing that you really want, but it's also a big ask. Dear Microsoft, I would like Canvas app functionality and designer for model-driven apps or table apps or whatever we're going to call them from now on. So what I mean by that is Canvas apps are great, and you can do loads of stuff with it. But when you build a Canvas app, you have to build all of the functions. You have to build a save, you have to build a create, you have to build delete, you have to build all of that. Model-driven app, you get a bunch of things straight out of the box. So what I want is somewhere between the two, where I don't want to embed an entire Canvas app into a form to do specific things. I'd like to maybe just create a button that just does a cool function, like go off and get a bunch of records and bring them back, or things that I can't do, or show and hide things more efficiently than I can with business rules. I think with Microsoft going towards that low code, no code development, getting rid of some of that legacy JavaScript that you have to use to sort of, as you talked about in the last episode of Dear Microsoft, showing and hiding tabs, showing and hiding sections. If I could do that with the low code interface that Microsoft had given me in Canvas apps, and the low code interface low code sort of syntax that they're giving me to do cool stuff, then I'd love to just be able to go and build a small little thing on this button, or create something cool on this button that shows this other thing, or when you have the designer where things don't line up quite rightly in sections and things, just adjust it a little bit. I don't want to build everything. I just want some better functionality, and I think Canvas apps is a really good way to do that.
Cool.
What do you
Awesome.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one of my asks that I wrote is a very similar concept to that. But anyway, if we have enough time, is like the last one I wrote, but I agree. I see that as a gap as well. I would love to have, like, how easy it is to create business rules, for example, and being able to convert your business rules to a canvas or something like that. So that's what I was thinking about, because I noticed the gap as well.
Yeah, and I mean they're improving the model-driven integration with Canvas apps and with model-driven apps, and that's really cool. But it kind of it seems like overkill to create an entire app, and I just kind of want to be in the single interface and go, hey, do you know what? I want to run this function maybe on start of this record to go off and retrieve the latest values or pre-populate these things. I don't want to have to use JavaScript to set a business process flow to the right stage and things like that. I just want to be able to do it in a low-code environment in a syntax that Microsoft are building already, so that I can just do it.
Yeah, that dream of being able to go, let's put a button here to do that without needing code to do it. So you're right, not like a full app. And I think on the wish list last year was about being able to change the ribbon. We've got the tools from the community and so on that we can do that with. But that idea of can I just put a button here on the screen that will trigger something or that will do something, and yeah, you can do that in a Canvas app very easily. That would be amazing.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. All right, Megan. Good job, Matt. That was good.
Yes.
But Megan, number two,
Dear Microsoft. So maybe in a similar area to Nick's first one, and that is, don't publish information. I don't care if it's on a blog, I don't care if it's on video, I don't really care if it's on a demo, but don't publish stuff about things that do not exist, because you know that it's coming in the future, but it's not there in the product. Because it really annoys me when I then get questions about something in a product and they're like, yeah, but if you look at this video and this has blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but it's not in the product. And I get that there's a fine line between, scrap what I just said. It's not a fine line. There's two completely different worlds with marketing and then with the actual product itself and the product team and the people that are putting it together. And I understand marketing as in you need to sell it, you need to present it in a certain way, but literally seeing videos about things that do not exist and aren't even released in a product yet, that really gets on my nerves. So please, Microsoft, just don't put stuff out there as if it's fact, as if it's actually there when it's not.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything that I've seen that I got questions about and it wasn't included since.
Yeah, we tripped over one of these recently, didn't we? Oh, there's a new feature we can talk about, except no, that's not actually real. It's just a marketing video.
Right. Not since Customer Insights. So Customer Insights, it was like on preview for a year and then they got rid of it. So that is the one thing that I was talking about to customers and showing demos and everything. And then a year later, Microsoft decided, no, we're not going to release it.
Hang on, wait, that was the problem. Customer Insights exists.
It exists now, but not the first time they released it.
Okay, right.
I think it was the original. It was codenamed Customer 360, I think.
Yes, yeah, I remember
Um,
that. Yeah.
and then it was Customer Insights, and then they got rid of it, and then they came back with it. So we have a new thing. So I'm glad it's out. But anyway, all
Yeah,
right,
see, I'm
Lisa,
okay with them
number
doing
2.
that as long as they
Oh,
don't
there you
change the name or the price.
go. Okay.
Well, that's why I said it tied in, but I get yours is more important.
Right. All right, Lisa, what's your second one?
I should just annoy Nick now by asking for pricing change.
Please
how
change
do
the
we
price.
feel? How do we feel about the portal's pricing? Dear Microsoft, please make it easier for us to sell portals. The other
But
kind
it makes it super easy right now. Hey, would you like a portal? What's the pricing? Oh, never mind. It's super simple.
Unlimited.
The sales cycle is real quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
But very painful.
Well, no, not even, because it's gone
Oh my
before it
God.
gets painful.
Yeah.
True. I
I
guess you
think-
always know the
yeah.
outcome, right, Nick?
Yeah, there's no
I
mystery
mean,
to selling portals.
Yeah.
It makes you sound like such an expert when they are like, well, how much is it? I don't know. No idea.
Duck
I
and
don't know.
avoid
How
that
many-
question. It's, there's a web page here. Let's just keep talking about how awesome the tech is.
How many people are going to visit your website for the next 5 years? I don't know. Well, that's exactly how much it's going to cost.
How many
No
times
one
are they going to
knows.
log in 1 month? What? Like, I said a question.
Somewhere
then you
Which
between
one?
0 and a lot of money a month, essentially.
Yeah. And you put this in front of people who run like a membership, like a B2C membership organization, where the behavior of the
Yeah.
customers is that they log in every other day, and you just can't. You just can't. It's too hard.
Oh my God. But yeah, that conversation is always interesting. How much is it? No idea. That's the answer. I don't
Yeah.
know. All right. Well, good.
Well,
That's
there you
a
go.
really
So
good
Nick has
request.
said, could we have 30 days of no name changes and licensing? And my 2 first wishes are for a name change and a licensing change. Sorry, Nick.
Well, I know who
No, I
I'm
re-
voting for when they ask us who should get kicked out of the MVP club.
Oh!
Oh ho ho. They never asked me. That's why Nick's still in.
Yeah.
Okay. So okay, so here's my second ask. My second ask is, I think Microsoft needs to stop, and this might be controversial, storing emails in Dynamics. All right. So hear me out. I want the functionality or the integration between Dynamics and Exchange to work kind of like, not as bad, but to work like the integration between Dynamics and SharePoint, where if you store if you store documents inside of SharePoint, even through Dynamics, we don't create copies of the document. We store them in SharePoint. We can see them through Dynamics, but they're stored in the SharePoint database. I feel that the storing, every time you track an email, I feel that storing that in the Dynamics database is a waste of space, is a duplication of data. It shouldn't be there. I should be able to see emails from the Exchange database that have been tracked into Dynamics via a flag or whatever. Show them to me, but don't store them in Dynamics. We already do that with the organization insights. There's a component that shows you emails that haven't been tracked in Dynamics, that Dynamics thinks they're kind of are related to the opportunity you're looking at or whatever, and recommends you to track them. You can track them from the the timeline or whatever, that the social pane, whatever that's called these days. You can see the emails in there, and you can click track, and now it creates a copy in Dynamics and shows you that. So the technology's there. I just don't see the point of why we need to store emails inside the Dynamics database. And I totally get it that you said, well, we do that because in case the salesperson leaves the company and deletes all the emails, we can keep a copy of it. We have the history behind it. But I mean, I think you should get around that. You can get around that and not having to duplicate the storage of emails both in Dynamics and Exchange. What do you guys think?
What about archiving and deleting, and when things are removed from the server?
Well, just be able to remove the flag, or yeah, if you have emails that are important to Dynamics, then don't archive those. Like I don't
You can't
know.
tell every user, oh, don't archive, or can't you set up your own rules in archiving? Like,
Yeah, because users
Yeah,
delete.
maybe.
You can delete emails. The whole point then is it's stored in Dynamics and the user can delete it, right?
Well, maybe just have a flag at an exchange level to say, hey, this one is tracked against a record in Dynamics. You can't delete or archive it. I like the idea, like a virtual entity or like an iframe looking at exchange.
That is a really good description of what I'm thinking about, which is
No, it's not.
like
It's a
virtual
virtual
entities.
table.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
Oh,
it's the same kind of behavior, right? I mean, data that is stored in another database display through Dynamics. Yeah.
The only thing I'd question is if someone creates an email inside Dynamics and sends it out, do we just delete the record inside Dynamics?
Yeah, I think that we move it to Exchange
Oh.
and we show the Exchange record and don't get rid of them.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I'm not sold on this one, Gus.
No,
gotta
it sounds
say.
very convoluted and confusing. And if you can't get social engagement right, I don't see this one working.
I mean, how many times have we looked at organizations and you look at the emails that are tracked but not against anything, and it's someone talking about what they're doing at the weekend or anything else. It's just taking up storage and it's just making
but I think
noise.
that's a different thing altogether. That's just making it work better in terms of how things are tracked and
Yeah.
the fact that one person could have something saying track everything and somebody else doesn't and it still gets in. I think that's a different thing, but I think trying to tie it in with Exchange and just displaying it, I think that's got a lot of challenges to it.
So there's a whole bunch
But
of
that
other
already exists. That's already out there. I mean, Organization Insights does that. It's just it doesn't do it with the tracked emails, and I think it should do it with tracked emails. It's doing it with untracked emails right now. As long as you have Exchange Online and CRM Online or Dynamics 365 Online, it does it. Yeah, I mean, I just don't see the point. Or how many of you have had customers that have like 20 employees, but they have gigs and gigs and gigs worth of attachments and emails that I mean, they're a high volume email company, and now their storage is blowing up. And I
the
get
attachments are a
You-
problem for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I get it that you can move attachments outside of it. You can use a solution and put them out in a blob storage or whatever. You can get around it, but you shouldn't have to do that. The attachments are already in Exchange. Just show them in Dynamics, having them store in Exchange.
There's a bunch of other stuff though that hinges off those things existing as activity records in the system, because once you start to get into the sales insight stuff and it does relationship analytics and all of those kinds of things and the back and forth, it's actually kind of looking at all of those activities and using the emails there. So you'd have to then, I think there's other things that hinge off that I see that bring high value.
Well, Microsoft is all powerful. They can figure it out. I'm not a developer. I don't have to.
These wishes
understand
don't have
how.
to be real.
You just need the idea, right, Gus?
Yeah.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
just need my idea.
See,
All
I like
right,
the idea,
so-
but I just think it needs to be licensed in such a way that you pay per email. So that way, when people ask how much it costs, we just say, "Well, how many emails do you get every month?"
Exactly. And emails sent after midnight, between midnight and 6 a.m. are cheaper. Just
Yeah.
how many of those emails come overnight? All right. Well, that was awesome. Okay, so let's do the last round of wishes. Nick, go ahead. What's your third request?
Oh, I've got a few more here. So let me pick a selfish one. So this has nothing to do with the product, but dear Microsoft, please bring back. I know it's not going to happen this year, but please bring back the in-person MVP Summit. And part 2 is renew me as an MVP until that happens. So that's all I'm asking for. Is to be
part 2.
Part 2, just renew me until that happens, until coronavirus goes away. I don't think that's asking too much, is it?
No,
I think that should be.
I think we
default.
can all be on board for that one, Nick, to support you.
Not for part 2, but for sure
Well-
bringing it in person.
And I also feel like we're asking a lot for Microsoft, so I think it's only fair that as the MVPs we think about what we could all get Microsoft. So I was thinking about taking maybe up a collection, and maybe we could get Microsoft some. I don't know. I was trying to think about what have they needed over the last little while, and so maybe we could help them out and get them some I don't know, maybe some trademark search consulting services, something like that. Is that something that Microsoft might need? Just a
Yeah,
thought.
I mean, I just feel like sometimes it feels like you want to use have you seen the Let Me Google That For You website?
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that one.
Mhm.
Like, guys, can you Google something first?
Bing. Bing.
But or well,
Maybe not
Maybe
the
that's
problem.
that's probably the problem.
That's the problem.
They probably
they're
used
searching on
Bing.
Bing.
Nope,
Yeah,
it's
they're
good.
using no hits on the name. Um, yeah, no, it's funny. It's interesting, and the same thing happens. I'm part of the podcasters group on Facebook. It has like tens of thousands of members, and you see them like almost every week. Somebody's like, "Oh, I launched my show, and there's already a show out there with the same name. Is that a problem?" Like, are you serious? Like, can you not search to see if there's a show with the same name you want? You don't think Wine Talk was taken? Come on, like
Is
it's
that wine
yeah,
with an H?
exactly.
With a Y.
All right, that's awesome. Matt, what do you have for number 3?
So again, another small one, because I don't want to be greedy this Christmas. But dear Microsoft, could you make some better integration for Dynamics and Power Automate? I would like to see my flow runs on a record. Just kind of like workflows used to. That thing that you used to build. That I'd like to see those on records. I'd like to run a flow on a subgrid without having to create a custom button and a webhook. I'd like some more love for Power Automate inside the platform.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
That actually ties
Maybe that
into
one.
one of the ones I didn't get to, which was just improving the CDS current environment connector. Like, if you ever try and relate records together, and all of a sudden you need the URL of it, it's like, what is that? Like,
Yeah.
who,
That
What is that?
that connector confuses me. I'm not a Power Automate expert, and every time I get near that connector, I just need to kind of back away and start read. Like, it's not intuitive to use at all if you're not using it
Yeah.
all the time.
Good. And what I think we should do, by the way, is let's finish this round number 3, and then we're gonna just rapid fire whatever else is on your list on the bonus round. All right.
Okay.
So Matt, that's a good ask. So good job. Megan, do you have number 3?
Yeah, so this one I'm not like, there was some others that have been said that I kind of had something too similar, but this is something that I think would not just apply to the area in views, but you could apply this to other things. But in terms of, from a user's perspective, just being able to add fields to a view, drag the columns of the view around, and have it, rather than having to open up advanced find every single time you want to create a view, actually have it from within the view itself. So start with an existing view. And I'm saying this because I only just found out about the button where you could add filters and then save that as a view. That's apparently been there in a while. I just found that the other day. But to take that a step further and then be able to actually add new fields into it, and then shuffle those fields around in the columns, and then change the sorting and save it all, rather than just saving it with the filters on. I think if we talk about citizen developer, that I think we have a long way to go in terms of making it more user friendly, and those are the sorts of things that a user would want to do, to be able to say, right, well, I've got my data, and that's a great system view, but I want these 2 fields on it as well. Well, you can't do that. You have to go to advanced find. You have to go through the thing that looks really ugly and doesn't look like anything else in Dynamics. So I would just like that to be a little bit more user friendly. So
I would. Can I piggyback on your wish then?
I'd love you to go for it.
if I may, which is also, once they've done that, can they do their data entry on that view as if it's a grid, like we're seeing in the Dataverse for Teams? And I know you can edit in Excel Online pop up there, and I know that editable grids were much excited about it, but the user experience of just wanting to do data entry on what looks like a grid is still not. I'd like that to be more awesome as well while they're there.
Well, let's just add that into my
Yeah, I'm
wish,
just
'cause
piggybacking on your wish.
cool. Okay, so that's it. That's what I'd like.
Awesome. All right. So, Lisa, do you have
Oh,
one?
yes, I do. This one is not related to naming or licensing, you'll be pleased to know. So, maybe Nick will allow me to stay in the program. We'll see if I can earn my stripes here. So.
Probably not. Probably not.
Probably not. I've
Keep
done
the
my dash.
You'll
I'll be
find
like-
something else.
Be like, keep the MVP Summit virtual. Just to go, just to go against Nick.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree with his wish there. So, dear Microsoft, please let us have some kind of built-in help inside Dynamics Sales. So there was something there for a bit, sort of disappeared. That thing where we can hand over a system and the users can have their own built-in training. You know, I know we've got little information things on the fields, but links to videos, whatever. I know there are third-party tools that do that, WalkMe, whatever, but you're starting to add cost and things in there. Some kind of built-in way of doing built-in tutorials or help. Whatever happened to that? It was there, it was gone, it was there a different way, it was gone again.
See, that's a product I can name. That would be Power Clippy, right? If we just had Power Clippy.
Power
Clippy.
Power Clippy.
And there's a thing on the F&O side, it's not quite the same, that allows you to do like screen recording within like steps. You can just go click the steps and it records it for you and it's right there. Can we have that over on our side of the fence? Has anyone seen that?
I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah. But it would be nice if it existed.
It's like, I think it's called Task Recorder or something like that, where it just, you go through and click the steps and it just out of the box records those and creates a little kind of click path. This is what you do. And people who work on that F&O side are like, yeah, that's a thing. And I'm like, not over on the customer engagement side. It's not. No. So I'll take that. Or something like that, just built-in help for users, the ability to configure built-in help for users as part of the product.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Just to add to that, I kind of liked that whole guiding a user through a process, like not business process flows, but kind of, you've opened this record for the first time. These are the key fields, and kind of have like a little flyout that shows you like what they are and a description of them.
So that was there, wasn't it, for a while?
Was it Learning Path? Is that what it was called?
Learning Path. Thank you. That's what it was called.
Yes.
What happened to that?
I think it's now included on social engagement. It's one of the features. Yeah.
It's under the same carpet. It's just been brushed under.
Exactly, on the same carpet. All right, so my last ask before we go into the rapid fire bonus round is I would like to create team calendar views. And I know that now there are some views that we can use and add a control that looks like a calendar, but that's it doesn't really allow a whole lot of customizations. I would love to pick, an easy way to see what everybody's doing, day by day, month by month, whatever it is. And there were some calendars on the whatever it's called, the service calendar, I guess is the name on the old one, before it was replaced by the field service one. But I just feel they're too complicated. I would love to have the ability to easily create calendar views, either based on users or based on whatever record it is. Just apply filters to it and make it easier. I know that there are some third parties out there with services like that, but this is a request that comes up often is, can I see my team's calendar, especially if you're like a sales manager for a territory or something like that. I just want to see my own team. Can you make that happen? And there's no easy way to do it.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yep. Love it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. All right. So thank you for agreeing with the last one, at least.
Yes.
And
we didn't go terribly controversial there.
Let's go into the bonus round, because I know that you probably wrote a couple more just in case. So Nick, what do you have for your bonus round?
I've got allowing guest users into the maker experience.
What?
So that
Oh my God.
What? No? You don't like that one?
Expand.
Well, I mean,
let him expand
go
on
ahead.
it.
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
So that as a consultant, they can invite my regular email address, so I can do things in the maker experience without getting one of their sets of credentials, and I don't have to manage a million different email addresses and passwords.
Yep, 100%. Just 100, just 100, but 100%. Yes.
It's fine. Just manage them all in a little notepad file. It's fine. It's secure. Don't worry about it.
I've got literally like dozens of Chrome profiles for each one of my clients, and
it's not about it's just about the switching, and then you've got the whole thing of there are some great clients where it's like, oh, okay, yes, I can still be logged into my Teams, but then just switch it. But then I've got the ones that I can't even do that, and I have to completely log out and log in again.
Yeah,
So
that happens all the time.
yeah, so that's agreed.
It's a pain.
It is.
Okay. Anything else, Nick? Just all the ones you have, whatever you have left.
That's
Was
it.
that
That's
it?
all I got. Did I mention MVP Summit in person? Did I mention that one?
You might have dropped
I
that in
think,
somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was for sure. All right, Matt.
So I have a couple of things. I would like a bit more conformity in the command bar, in the ribbons. Things like Excel templates and Word templates are black, whereas the export to Excel are green, and there's other colors there. Could we not just colorize the whole thing and maybe add a bit more color to Dynamics in general? That's one thing. I would like a new business process flow and a new business rule designer, because sometimes they're a little bit painful.
What?
Like maybe the ability to hide tabs and sections.
Yeah, that's it.
Sounds like somebody asked for this before. I feel
A
like.
little bit. And I'd like the ability to create complex advanced finds using all the capabilities of Fetch XML and not just what you're limited through advanced find.
That's cool. Like, left outer joins and things like that. That'd be
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
That's awesome.
That's all I'd like for Christmas. Dear Microsoft.
I felt like you should have added like the ability to color code, like the text, for example, and the way we can do it in Canvas apps, for example, where you can put, if the value is this, make it red or
that would be
bold, and if the
awesome.
value is that, it will be green. And so right now you have to use like JavaScript for that, which is not supported and it breaks, as fast as they change names, JavaScript breaks too. So it will be awesome to have business rules that can do that.
That should have been number one on someone's list. That would be really cool, because that does get asked for a lot. I mean, I know you can use emojis apparently, but
I was going to ask, isn't there somewhere where we need emojis that we can't do it right now? That's not on your list, Megan?
nope. I think pretty much anywhere you want, really. Unicode text as well. But
yeah, let's hear Megan's bonus asks.
Yeah, so I was totally blagging when I said I had loads. So one of the things.
Yeah, you didn't think I was gonna call you out.
Sorry, I don't mind being honest. So one of the things, actually, what Matt was saying about a bit of uniformity in terms of the ribbon itself, I would just like buttons to be in somewhat of a similar place. So if I'm on a contact and I have access to delete, I would like the delete button to be the same place. If I have access to add one, I'd like the new to be roughly in the same place. And I don't want to have to then be like, oh, well, on this one, you'll have to click on the ellipsis, which is the 3 dots, in case you don't know what that word is. But if you
I call it the meatball menu. You call it ellipsis?
It's called an ellipsis.
This is an actual proper grammatical name.
It is an ellipsis.
I call it the meatball button, so whatever.
The meatball button.
Meatballs, yeah. And the one that is the 3 buttons like vertical is kebab, the kebab menu.
No, that's a hamburger.
Oh, so that's the hamburger icon.
No,
That's the hamburger.
No, the hamburger is the 3 lines, but there's also the 3 dots.
Oh, okay.
There's like 3 dots that go vertical.
That's the ellipsis. What did you think I was talking about?
No, the 3 dots horizontal is ellipsis.
Vertical.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then there's the waffle
the 3
icon.
dots. Yes. All right. So
anyway,
it's all food.
So I want things to be in roughly the same place, rather than having been like, this one you've got to click here, this one you've got to click there, blah blah blah. And also, and I know we've kind of like joked about it a little bit, but I would seriously like to have more research done, and I'm not talking about from a trademark perspective or anything like that, but when coming up with names of things, just a little bit of creativity. I mean, in terms of, you had voice of the customer, and then they had Forms, so they went with Forms Pro, and then they went back to customer voice. Like, that to me does not take a lot of ingenuity. No, what's the word? It doesn't take. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Creativity. That doesn't take a lot. Okay, you've basically taken 2 words and you've flipped them around and you've moved of and the. And same with, like, we had Data Flex and now it's Dataverse. I don't know. I mean, companies spend a lot of money on brainstorming sessions. They get in consultants, they get in experts, they talk about it and they come up with a name. That I would just like them to, I don't know, rethink it or reevaluate how they do that internally, because it's not going so well, is it?
And why not use the names that like everyone in the industry knows, like CRM and ERP? I don't.
See, I go
I
the other
mean,
way. I like the names that are made up words because they become searchable and findable. Like in time,
really?
Dataverse will be
Until they
easier to
change.
find. Well, that is actually one of the biggest challenges with the changes is finding stuff. But if you Google or Bing customer voice, that's a generic term that's used. And so then the product that we work with gets lost in the search results of that. And that's a shame. That doesn't help.
Yeah, I would agree with data. I agree with you on a made up word. It lends itself better for all kinds of things. But again, that was you had Dataflex and then you went with Dataverse. Like so, to me, there wasn't much in terms of
Well, it's
a
not a theme,
rethink.
really.
but
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Anyway,
just wish they picked names that weren't like said in different ways, like Asher
data,
and Azure.
data.
Like
Yeah.
people, they say it in different way. No one knows what's the real one. And the same thing when you call Dataverse versus Dataverse. Like, just come up with one, like Red or whatever, Microsoft Red.
You mean red?
Just keep it simple. Yeah, sure. Whatever you said. Okay, so Lisa, what do you have for your bonus
All
round?
right. So I guess I have my bonus ones are things that, there's stuff already happening, but my vision, I guess, for next year, looking ahead, I wish for parity such that there is no more switch to classic. So that the amount of
Wow.
still, that's a big one, and where that's at compared to a year ago. Like clearly things are happening and it's getting better, but my dream is that there is no such thing as a switch to classic. And my other dream is that we see dynamics and teams come together with as much gusto as we've seen Power Platform and Teams come together, because I think that story of collaboration and CRM together would be absolutely unbeatable, and I would love to see enormous moves in that direction next year.
Interesting.
I think
All
every
right,
time you
awesome.
install Teams, you should get a free 8 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, exactly. I only have two on my bonus round, and they're both converters. I want a converter from workflow to flow, just a simple one click, make a flow out of this workflow. If you're going to be putting disclaimers saying, like, hey, you shouldn't be using workflows, you should be using my flows or Power Automate or whatever, then make it easy by giving me a button. Now, I get it. There's engineering behind it before you guys jump and be like, but what about the custom workflow steps? Okay, I'm not, again, a developer. I just come up with ideas. They have to figure that out. I don't care how, but they have to figure that out. And then also, obviously, we know that there's no such thing as real-time flows. They also have to figure that out as part of my request. That's why it's not easy, and that's why it's a bonus. Um, and then the other one is a converter. This is similar to what Matt was talking about before. It's a model to canvas and canvas to model converter. I would love to be able to add a bunch of customizations in a model driven app, like business rules and calculated fields and whatever. Just create a form, go to town, design it, and then say make a canvas app out of this, and then have the canvas app, and I can go and complete it there and add whatever I couldn't do on the model driven on the canvas. Kind of a way to get started, just like Matt was talking about. And the same thing, if you have a canvas app, be able to click on it and get a model driven version off of it, right? That looks like it. And now I can, do whatever I want with it, and it will be a model driven one. So that is, again, the last one. So two converters are my bonus ask.
You might as
All right.
well add world peace to that because it's about the same.
Yeah,
I think we should have just started there.
Yeah, world peace and let's beat Salesforce. Those two little asks. Okay.
When's the last time Salesforce changed their name?
Exactly.
Well, that sums it up nicely, doesn't it?
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining this annual tradition. We'll see, how we do in 2021. Hopefully, it's a better year. Hopefully, they all become a reality. But let's go ahead and go through the list, and you guys can tell people how they can get in touch with you and tell you I totally agree with your ask or I completely disagree, and I hope you get your MVP taken away. I don't know if that's the email I'm sending.
I did not know I was
So,
getting into something so dangerous.
Uh,
Yeah.
But go ahead. And I know some of you guys have podcasts as well, so please feel free to talk about them and get people to listen to that. I know I'll be tuning in after some of the bombshells that were disclosed before we started recording. So I'm gonna go and check that out. But Nick, how can people get in touch with you?
Twitter, engineered_code, LinkedIn, my name, Nicholas Hayduk. I've got a Refresh the Cache Portals podcast that I co-host with the other Nick from Canada and Mr. Colin Vermander. I do a monthly Portals community call, so if you're interested in Portal stuff, check that out. And I look forward to turning off the safe content filtering stuff so I can check out the Megan and Lisa's podcast.
Exactly. All right. Matt, how can people get in touch with you?
So you can find me on Twitter at D365Geek. You can find me on LinkedIn, Matt Collins Jones. My YouTube is youtube.com/Matt Collins Jones. You can go to my blog, d365geek.co.uk, or you can search for my podcast called The Power Chat Form, available at all good podcast providers.
Awesome. All right, Megan.
Yes, I am Megan V Walker. Very important. So if you just Google that, then you'll find everything you need. I'm on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. Have a blog post with a lot of blogs on it. And I also do a podcast with the lovely Lisa Crosby, who you might have heard of because she's been chatting with us all this time. And we do that once a week, usually on a Tuesday or Wednesday. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Lisa?
Yes, so you find me pretty easily just with my full name, Lisa Crosby. That's spelled with an IE at the end is the key to finding me. I'm Lisa M. Crosby on Twitter. Part of the Up podcast there with Megan, having fun over there as well. Yeah, all good. Thank you.
That's awesome. And I do agree that hopefully we go back to in-person events and get to hang out together. I hope 2021 looks better. You know, the whole vaccine thing is taking shape. I just got an invitation, by the way, while you guys were talking about best way to get in touch with you, to the 2021 Kentucky Derby. How about that? I don't know about horse racing or care at all about it, but somehow out of the blue, I just got an invitation to attend the 2021 Kentucky Derby. I just thought that was
random.
the weirdest thing
Random.
ever. Yeah, I
When
never
is
get
it?
invites for stuff that I want. May 2nd,
Ooh,
2021.
they're optimistic.
Mark
but,
Smith signed
you
you
know
up
what
for that.
Americans are like. Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably Mark Smith who signed me up for this. Thank you for an invite to the Kentucky Derby. I'll probably get an invite for a rodeo or, some of the other stuff that I don't care for, or bullfighting in Pamplona or something. But thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this episode of the CRM MVP podcast. If you have any comments or questions for our panelists or for me, feel free to email us at info@crmvppodcast.com. All of our episodes are always available at crmvppodcast.com. Thank you for listening.